What's going on, guys? Car review guys here. My name is AJ, and this week we are back with a 2025 Subaru Forester Sport. This is going to be the full review. Next video is going to be 5 things to love, 5 things to improve. We are over 20,000 subscribers now. Thank each and every one of you. So if you are new to my channel, we are going to start with the exterior right after a cinematic, and then we're going to go over stats, figures, stuff like that on the exterior. Then we're going to go to the interior, and then we are going to take it on a drive. So if there's something specific you can skip through, that's kind of the segment as to how it's going to go. So without further ado, let's roll. Starting with some of the stats and figures, this Forester Sport has a 4-cylinder 2.5 liter boxer pushing 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque. Transmission is a linear CVT. All-wheel drive is the drivetrain. Your curb weight's going to be around 3,611 pounds, which is going to be pushing this Forester Sport from 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds. Now, fuel economy is obviously important. 25 city, 32 highway, combined average of 28. Your gas tank size, you're right around 16.6 gallons. Touching on vehicle dimensions, overall length is around 15.3 feet, which is around half an inch longer from previous 2024, from my understanding. Width is around 6 feet, also half an inch wider. And your ground clearance is around 8.7 inches. Pricing starts at around $31,090 for the base. Our tester today is around $37,590, and that is including the destination charge. Now that we are here in the back, you can kind of see you only have one cutout for the exhaust, although it does have kind of a symmetrical look. And then also new for this, you do have a optional power liftgate. Press the button and up it goes. Now, for size reference, I have 2 golf bags here in the rear, and you can see they fit rather easily. Definitely some more space. I just kind of threw them in there, but I will of course put here on the screen the actual cubic feet for you. The other thing to note is over here you do have a charger, and then you also have this cover as well, which you can pull out there, and now you obviously have a cover. Couple more things to point out on the exterior, just some details you may or may not notice. Obviously you have fog lamps down below, you have LED runners and headlamps, and then right here you can see Subaru. Hopefully you can see that kind of spelled out. The lighting is rough right now, and then hopefully you can see this pearl paint. This is the pearl option. Definitely a lot of flake in it, looks really good. And if you just step back, unfortunately the camera, pictures, everything does not do it justice. Looks much better in person because of all of the flake. And on this Sport, you can see there's some bronze wheels. That is obviously all personal preference. Size-wise, you're going to be looking at a 235/50/19. As already mentioned, it is symmetrical all-wheel drive, so that is really nice. Time to see what it is like to get into the rear. All right, let's see here. You can definitely tell the ground clearance is up a little bit, almost. Depends, some people just call this an SUV, some people call it a crossover. I've seen so many different things on what you guys think. With that said, you can tell you have to step up just a little bit. And also it is a little bit of a well. I don't know, see if I can get that to kind of show, kind of see my hand. So you're kind of stepping down in a well. Not every vehicle is so pronounced like that. So something you have to get used to, but definitely not hard. As far as headroom goes, plenty of headroom in here. And then if I bring it up close for you, you can see there's probably a good, I would say 2.5, 3 inches above me. I'm 5'9" if I haven't already mentioned that. And then leg space, there is a ton. I mean, there's probably 8 inches of leg space there. So no issue with leg room. You have your 2 own AC/heating vents back here, 2 different chargers. And then you do have some different pockets. This is unique. I actually haven't seen this before. Not to say it's not been done before, it's just the first time I've seen it. So you have a pocket here and a pocket there, so seeing like dual layers, and it's kind of stitched in the middle, so there's even a little tiny pocket, I guess maybe for a phone, I don't know. Nonetheless, same thing on the other side. And then of course in the middle, pull this down, 2 cup holders and an armrest. Touch on door materials very quickly. So all of this is kind of like a rubberized material, very strange feeling. And then up here it's actually softer. It's like a rubberized cloth, which is again different. And then up here this just flat out just feels like cloth. And then this is all kind of rubberized, but definitely a harder material. Buttons I do like, or switches rather, not a button, but it does have the chrome bezel. Definitely always makes it feel a little bit better with the attention to detail. The other thing that I have noticed on the Forester, and again, I have not actually tested the 2024, so maybe that's the case there too. Don't know, don't have experience, not going to speak on something I don't know. But the doors have such a solid thunk, which some of the other Subarus don't necessarily have. They feel light, they feel flimsy. This doesn't. Like, just take a listen. Again, camera, I don't know if it's going to come out to you guys, but let's just see. Like, you got to really shut it. Like, it's solid. I really do like it. All right, time to test the front. And if I didn't mention it already, front doors, keyless entry, none on the rear. All right, stepping in. Super easy. Again, yes, you can tell just slightly the ground clearance, but not bad at all. Plenty of headroom, definitely in the top vehicles that I've reviewed for, easy to get into. Door materials are identical to the rear, so not too much to really, talk on here. You can see the windows, obviously auto for the fronts and not for the rears, and then you have your power mirror adjustments. And coming on over, you have your rear lift gate, your different lighting options for the interior. And then this is for on and off for the basically the kick, because you can kick underneath the rear lift gate, and that'll give you that option to turn that on or off for that feature. The one unique thing, and I will say I think it's unique, if you look here, this is generally like a separate piece. And so yesterday I was literally sitting in traffic and I was like just playing with that piece a little bit, and I was like, oh, it's got a little like push to it. And if you kind of look here, yeah, it's the horn. So the guy in front of me was probably like, bro, what is your problem? And I was like, my bad. I did not realize that was part of like the horn. Usually it's just the circle part. No, it's continued all the way down here. So fun fact for you, if you just press here, that's the horn. Pretty interesting, but yeah, funny for sure. Moving on, over on the left, this is all of your media source control. Pretty standard in today's vehicles. And then over on the right, you can see it does have the active steering. In this, I think they call it eyesight, foresight, whatever Subaru calls it. With that said, it is lane centering when the cruise control is on. It does not function when it is off, and it has adaptive cruise control as well. And of course, to set it, right up there. And then also pretty standard in Subarus now, the same screen that you're really going to see throughout. And as far as responsiveness, let's just click something again, and that is what it is like. And it does have wireless Android/Apple CarPlay if that is for you. Coming down below, you're going to notice a couple different chargers, wireless phone charger as well. And then I do love this boot that Subaru is putting in many of their vehicles. It literally almost looks like carbon fiber. I'm not sure if it's going to show up quite right on camera. Nonetheless, it actually is a pretty neat little touch. Emergency parking brake, electronic obviously. 2 water bottle holders or whatever, pop, soda, whatever you prefer. And then as far as this goes, material, it does have some nice cushion to it. And pulling up, hopefully maybe you can see if the light will adjust. There you go, you can see it's definitely small, but it's definitely deep as well. Checking out the dash, this is also like a rubberized design material. Neat little touch that they did. Above us, we have a sunglasses holder. And then here we do have a nice big roof. It's not, I don't know. It's not really a panoramic roof. Holy bright, I just literally blinded myself, but it is rather big. You can see how far back it goes on the rear window. It's kind of like a sunroof and a half, if that makes sense. I think that's gonna wrap up the interior. I think it's time we take it for a drive. Goes without saying, I've already driven this a few times around town onto the freeway as well. And my first impression, especially considering the price, you are sub $40,000, you know, between the, call it 37 range, right? Give or take just a little bit. With that said, I think you're getting a pretty good value. You've got heated seats. There is not ventilated seats, at least not yet, to my understanding. That would be a nice touch eventually if Subaru adds those in. But nonetheless, for the value that you're getting, I think it's decent, especially if you need a winter vehicle. Like I've talked about this before, like you're really just not going to beat Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive. Like if it's not the best, it's definitely one of the best when it comes to all-wheel drive. So definitely something to consider if that's where you live or whatever. Now, again, along with the value, the thing that I've noticed is honestly how quiet this vehicle is. It's, to me, one of the quieter vehicles that I've driven of Subaru. So pretty impressed with that. And I think that has to do, honestly, somewhat with the doors. Like I was saying, they definitely shut different than all of the other Subarus that I've shut. Like, and I know that sounds funny, it sounds quirky, but they really are way more like sturdy. They have like a ka-thunk to them. We are about to test the all-wheel drive here. We're about to punch it and go. Here we go. Not bad. You can definitely hear the motor upon acceleration, speaking of noise, but it's definitely what I would expect. And then as far as acceleration, not a fast vehicle by any stretch of the imagination, but good enough to get out in traffic, especially with the all-wheel drive. If it wasn't all-wheel drive, probably not be that great, but since it's all-wheel drive, at least the power that it does have puts it to the ground. You don't have to worry about it, and you're going. Let's touch on blind spots. Over to the left, that pillar is actually rather skinny, so no complaints there. And then checking over to our right, again, not really much of a blind spot, so that's a good thing as well. We test every vehicle that we drive over the grates up here. It's just a cattle guard, and whenever we go over it, you can basically tell not only suspension wise, but you can also hear what it sounds like. So as we go over it, let's see how it does. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Pretty smooth, honestly. I'm pretty impressed with that. That was pretty good. Like noise wise, really good in my opinion. And then suspension wise, I would say better than average compared to what I usually review. Touching on lane centering, again, you do have to have your cruise control set like I do right now, and it does stay dead center of the lane. It does a really good job, so no complaint there. As far as adaptive cruise control goes, works good, definitely holds distance. The only thing like tweak I would say even remotely is it does accelerate a little bit on the slow side once a car actually gets out of your way. But again, not a big deal. It's just something that I noticed ever so slightly, and that could literally be because I review so many cars. The other nice thing about the Forester, which I am not going to be testing, and there are plenty of other videos that will show, is it's capable of going off-road, right? And I'm not going to be taking it off-road today or in this review, but it's definitely capable. And on top of going off-road, it's just versatile, right? You're going to be getting, again, upwards of just over 30 mpgs, 32 on the freeway. So rather impressive all the way around for being a versatile vehicle. Testing the suspension here, 19, 20 miles an hour. Let's see, let's left, right, left. Honestly, not bad for the size. It's not amazing by any stretch, but like apples to apples, like as far as like comparing this to other vehicles this size exactly, like having 8.7 inches of ground clearance, pretty tight on the turning, feels good. Last thing I want to touch on, again, is just the noise. I'm very impressed with the noise levels in this vehicle. Road noise, quiet. Wind noise, very quiet. Suspension, as far as going over bumps type stuff, which also can be into like road noise, I guess, but also quiet. And that really, honestly, for me, is really the key takeaway. I've mentioned a lot of things in this video, but that is definitely a key takeaway for me in particular. If there's anything else you want to know, please comment down below. I try to respond to every single person best I can. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.